call the City Commission meeting of November 7th, City of Aventura, to order. I'm going to ask the clerk for roll call.
Mayor Weissman,
Here.
Vice Mayor Weinberg,
Here.
Commissioner Landman,
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Here.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Here.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Here.
Commissioner Shelley,
Here.
Mr. Soroka,
Here.
Mr. Mandel.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask Brian Mars to please come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, Brian. Thank you, Brian. I know you were waiting all day.
Oh, say.
Pledge.
Oh.
It's his birthday.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to now ask for a nomination for the election of vice mayor.
I'd like to make a nomination of Bob Shelley, please.
Can I have a motion made by Commissioner Narotsky? Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks. I'm going to ask, are there any other nominations? All right, then I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, congratulations, Vice Mayor Shelley.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask the city manager if there are any deletions or additions to the agenda.
We have no changes to the agenda.
Thank you so much. Then I'm going to go down to the podium, and I'm going to ask any commissioners that want to come with me to please join me.
I have no idea. Guess we're all going.
Well, I think I have to say, in 3.5 years, this is the most crowded this commission chamber has ever been. And people are kind of going, well, who are all these people? Not often in your life do you come across people that so unselfishly give of themselves. And it doesn't matter if it's for Jewish causes, it doesn't matter if it's for medical issues, it doesn't matter if it's feeding elderly people that don't have meals, particularly at the holidays. Whatever it takes, this person does. But I'm going to share a secret with every single one of you. And what you're looking at, the person I'm recognizing is Jennifer Ensline. So Jen, come here. I did. Now I'll let everybody in on our secret. With a family and a community of friends and the work that Jennifer does, it's very hard to pull a surprise or a secret off. So I talked to her parents, Denise talked to most of the family, and we told Jennifer that we were honoring and recognizing her father. And we needed all of the family to be here. Her father and mother were in on the joke, and she just realized sitting there that she's the one getting the honor. Now, this is particularly, and as I said, this is a lifetime. And Alex, these are things, where's Dad sitting? Okay, Alex, these are things, you don't become 40, 50, 60, and all of a sudden one day wake up and say, I'm going to do good work and good deeds. These are things that you instilled in your children, every single one of them, every single day. And Jennifer, for me, just took it to a different kind of level. We take a breath. You know, we have a program at the JCC, and I think I'm going to read this, and I'm going to let Jennifer, if she wants to talk about it for a minute. But there's a disease that really impacts, I guess, over 50. Maybe 45 is the new 50, but it impacts people in the prime of their life. And I think most of us got to know about this from Michael Fox. It's Parkinson's, and it's very, very special to Jennifer. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a progressive disease of the nervous system, marked by tremor, muscular rigidity, and slow, imprecise movement. And whereas Jennifer Ensline envisioned a goal of helping Parkinson's patients in their efforts to fight back against this terrible disease, and whereas Rocksteady Boxing is a unique boxing exercise program that has proven to benefit those living with Parkinson's mentally, physically, and emotionally. And whereas Mrs. Ensline was instrumental in bringing this extraordinary program to the Michael Ann Russell Jewish Community Center in North Miami Beach, and whereas on August 30th, 2017, the MAR JCC celebrated the 1-year anniversary of Rocksteady Boxing program, and whereas the city of Aventura would like to recognize Jennifer Ensline and commend her for giving back to our community through her efforts to provide this one-of-a-kind program to Aventura residents battling Parkinson's. And we have how many in the program as of last week?
As of today, 95.
95 people. From nothing but an article and a video and a little splice of seeing something, Jennifer took this idea, and it started with very few people at first. She wrote grants. She got support. She's been a one-person dynamo. Everybody at the MAR, and I've been to the program, it is absolutely incredible, and the impact on our residents' lives and everybody who enters this program, and the extraordinary people that have come to help with the exercise, with the boxing, with everything that goes on there. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Enid Wiseman, as mayor and behalf of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, do hereby proclaim November 7th, 2017 as Jennifer Ensline Day. Can we all stand?
So I'm fortunate enough to know the whole Halberstein family, but Jenny, I know some of your children couldn't be here, your grandchild isn't here today, but they wanted you to know they're so proud of you and they're cheering you on from wherever they are. So congratulations, it's a well-deserved recognition.
Just two things. The first thing, I want to dedicate this recognition to, first and foremost, my dad, Alex. I shared today with you because I thought you were being honored. And since you are being honored, anytime we are honored, it falls back on you. I also want to dedicate this award to my family, the last 3 rows, I think, or two rows here. I love you guys. But more than anyone, I would like to dedicate to my husband because, look, it's 6:13 right now. The number of mitzvot, 6:13. Spencer, I love you. And together, we're going to beat this effing disease. And for that, I would like all my boxers to stand up and the coaches and the trainers. I dedicate this to you because you are the true heroes. You are the true heroes. Where is Henry? Henry, this is for you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Enid. I love you.
And stay for a minute. How many days a week?
So as of last week, we added 2 additional sessions. So we have 5 sessions a week. It would be great if some of you, rather than just listen to it, can stop by the JCC and come check it out. You would be really inspired. You don't have to be a patient or suffer from the disease to get inspired by the effort of all these boxers and my team of volunteers who are here, the wives. We call them the Rocksteady Housewives. Come Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 12 to 1 or 1 to 2 p.m. Thank you.
I will tell you, it will change a part of your soul. When you watch what they do, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. This is very rigorous, but there's something in the movements that are associated with boxing that trigger stimulus in the brain. And it's just an incredible program that we have servicing so many residents here. And as I often say, Northeast Dade is a small area. It's 1 degree of separation.
People who move change the world.
And you're one of those. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you. Okay, next are our Employee Service Awards, and I'm turning it to the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, it's my privilege to honor some of the employees that have been with the city and honor their service with the city. And the first one is Brent Rogers. He's been here for 10 years. The next one is a 15-year award, and this is for Julia Corbello from the Police Department. Congratulations. Thank you, Julia. Thank you so much. Let's take a quick picture. We have another 15-year for Linda Messig, and she's in the Finance Department. This is for 20 years of service to the City of Aventura, Anthony Mahako, and the Public Works Transportation Department. Another 20 years of service. This is for Police Officer Helen Morrison. Helen? And another 20 years. This is for Police Officer Kevin Charles. And then last but not least, another 20 years. This is for Sergeant Terry Scott. Terry?
Okay, I'm going to ask, I give people a couple of seconds to leave. Okay. I'm going to ask if any member of the commission would like to remove an item from the consent agenda. Seeing as there are none, I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the items on the consent agenda. Motion made by Vice Mayor Shelley. Can I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Narodsky. I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda is item 7, ordinances, first reading. I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending ordinance number 2016-13, which ordinance adopted a budget for the 2016-2017 fiscal year by revising the 2016-2017 fiscal year operating and capital budget as outlined in Exhibit A attached here too, authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to carry out the aims of this ordinance, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance. Thank you, Commissioner Narodsky. May I please have a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask the city manager to review this item.
This is our annual cleanup amendment for the budget that just ended fiscal year September 30th. Basically, it's for $2.7 million. The majority of the funds are for the costs incurred by the city as it related to Hurricane Irma. That was about $1.3 million. And then the remaining amount of the larger amount is from the Community Development Department for building inspection services that were offset by additional revenues coming in for building inspection services.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance? Made by Commissioner Mizrahi. Can I have a second, please? Seconded by Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks. I have a question for the city manager. The 2.7 mil, much of that will be reimbursed by FEMA, hopefully?
Well, out of the 1.2 for the hurricane, yeah, we anticipate a majority of that will be offset.
Okay, and with the code costs increasing, it's a pass. Our fees have gone up as well to the developers.
No, the fees have stayed the same, but basically it's additional, it's higher inspections than we originally anticipated when we prepared the budget. So it's a wash in terms of the revenue coming in and the services provided by our contract.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question.
I'm going,
sorry.
Commissioner Shelley,
Yeah.
Vice Mayor. Got to get used to it.
City Manager, a quick question. You said, forgetting the Irma issue, because we understand that, but talking about the reimbursement from the fees, approximately, will you say of the 1.2, most of that's reimbursed?
So it's $1.2 million approximately, and that was increased building inspections that were required, so that's the expenditure side. And on the revenue, we took in a similar amount to offset that in building inspections.
Okay, so it's a wash.
It's a
in
wash,
terms of
correct.
net income. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, I'm going to open the item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address this ordinance? If there are none, I'm going to close this item for, I'm going to close the item for public comment. Are there any other questions or comments from the commission? Then I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley, Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
The motion passes on first reading.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is item 8. It's an ordinance for second reading. I'm going to ask the city attorney to please read the ordinance.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending Chapter 36 Retirement, Article 2, Police Pension Plan and Trust Fund in accordance with changes contained in the collective bargaining agreement between the city and the Dade County Police Benevolent Association for the period October 1, 2016 through September 30, 2019 by amending Section 36-22 definitions, by amending Section 36-26 service retirement benefit to revise retirement criteria, by adding Section 3635 deferred retirement option program, by adding Section 3638 defined contribution plan, by adding Section 3639 use of premium tax revenues, providing for repeal, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance made by Commissioner Weinberg. Can I have a second, please? Second by Vice Mayor Shelley. I'm going to open this item up for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that wants to address this item? Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close this item for public comment, and I'm going to ask if any members of the commission have any questions or comments. Then I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley, Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
The motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda, we move into quasi-judicial procedures, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the procedures for the quasi-judicial hearings and to read the ordinance to be considered. The clerk will swear in anyone wishing to testify.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Please be advised the following items on the Commission's agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to object or comment upon any of these items, please inform the Mayor when she requests public comments. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you refuse either to be cross-examined or to be sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the Commission to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the city clerk. And the ordinance that we're going to be dealing with right now is an ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, amending the official zoning map of the City of Aventura by amending the zoning designation for a 2.0 parcel, acre parcel of land located on the north side of Northeast 213th Street, as more particularly described in Exhibit A to this ordinance, from B2 Community Business District to MO Medical Office District, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance. Made by Vice Mayor Shelley. Can I ask for a second, please? Seconded by Commissioner Mizrahi. This is second reading, so I'm going to ask the applicant if they have any comments.
Madam Mayor, before anybody speaks, the city clerk's going to need to swear in whoever's going to be speaking.
If you will be speaking on this item, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn in at this time. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
When you come up, would you please state your name and other vital information?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Edwin J. Stacker, and I'm an attorney with Mastriana and Christensen, PA, 1500 North Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. I'm here this evening on behalf of Gulfstream. I want to thank your staff. We've worked very closely with them, and we concur with staff recommendations and the report.
Okay, and again, I just want to remind everybody that was provided at first reading. I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has any questions or comments. Okay, Mr. Stacker, thank you so much. I'm going to open the item for public comment, and I'm going to request that members of the public state their name and address for the record. Mrs. Ginsburg.
Good evening. Ivy Ginsburg. Do you need my address?
For the record, please.
3610 Yacht Club Drive, Aventura, Florida, 33180. I know item B and C, to me, they're very related, and I'm going to speak more about item C later, but the reason I want to speak today is we know that the reason for this zoning change is because the city is buying 2 acres for Charter High School. And as a result, the Gulfstream has asked for a change in the zoning from B2 to MO or MO to B2 so that they can continue to have the opportunity to develop their 480-unit residential property. And whether I like it or not, that's neither here nor there, but my concern is with the negotiations that the city has done with Gulfstream, since the city is allowing this, well, presumably, you haven't voted yet for the second time, but I know the first time it was 7-0, allowing this zoning change so that the Gulfstream can continue to have the density that they requested, the 480 units. I don't understand why the city hasn't asked as part of the deal to give us an access road for the school. And that's the basis for my objection to this zoning change, because I don't think the city, unless something happened that I don't know in the last 3 months, that's an issue to many of the residents in the northern part of Aventura, and I don't see why that cannot still be negotiated even tonight to allow the city to have an access road to get into Gulfstream for the school. And the rest of my comments I'll reserve for the other item.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to address this issue? Okay, I'm going to close it for public comment. Anyone else from the commission? Then I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley, Mayor Weisman.
Yes.
The motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you. I'm going to ask the city attorney to please read item C, the next ordinance to be considered.
Yes, Madam Mayor, and also for this item, the quasi-judicial procedures, as I enunciated before, are going to be invoked for this item as well. An ordinance of the City of Aventura, Florida, approving an amendment to the development agreement pursuant to Chapter 163 Florida statutes dated November 8, 2006, made between Gulfstream Park Racing Association, Inc., as developer, and the City of Aventura to extend the term of the agreement from July 7, 2017 to July 7, 2024, to revise Exhibits A and B to the agreement with new legal descriptions for the reconfigured B2 district and MO district parcels, to add the 2.0 acre conveyance to the city, and to amend the vehicular access restriction to and from Northeast 213th Street, all relating to parcels of land located on the north side of Northeast 213th Street, east of Biscayne Boulevard, City of Aventura, authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the city, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the ordinance, and I'm going to remind everyone again, this is second reading. Can I please have a motion? Made by Vice Mayor Shelley. Can I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Mizrahi. I'm going to ask the applicant if they have any comments. Mr. Attorney, do I need him to state his name again for the record? Please.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Edwin J. Stacker, again, here on behalf of Gulfstream Park. Once again, we concur with the staff report and would encourage you to move forward with approval of the agreement. Thank you.
Okay, let me ask if any of the commissioners have any comments or questions about this. Commissioner Narodsky.
I haven't. Forgive me if I'm jumbling a couple of the items. I just want to get back to what Ms. Ginsburg was asking about. Correct me if I'm wrong, there is nothing before us right now administratively in terms of any type of project that I'm aware of. Is that correct? I haven't been made aware of anything that's currently before this commission.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't hear you.
With regard to the previous mention of the 400-plus unit condominium, I haven't seen anything that's before us right now.
So prior to this, there was an approval for 480 units for a condominium on 213th Street, which was part of the Waterways Park purchase 10 years ago. And that gave them certain development rights, which included 35 units an acre, which brought it up to the 480 units. They have chosen not to pursue that project, and at this point in time, there's no site plan that exists for the project. They would have to bring a new site plan forward to the city, and it'd have to meet all the city code requirements, and including what you're approving tonight.
Just, Madam Mayor, we concur with what the city manager just said.
Thank you, sir. Any other commissioners have any comments or questions? I'm going to open this item for public comment, and I'm going to request, if not sworn in, that you're sworn in and you state your name and address for the record. Are there any public comments?
Ivy Ginsburg,
Your address, please, for the record.
3610 Yacht Club Drive, Aventura, Florida, 33180. And again, I still see this as enveloping the charter high school issue. So, I mean, I can't say that any resident is against good local schools, makes the city more desirable. I think I just want to make a few points. There is, I believe, a fairness issue with the lottery for only 200 students per class. It doesn't take into consideration students that are currently attending other private schools. It only looked at Waterways and ACES, and even with those two schools, obviously not all Aventura students can attend. But as everybody knows, the real issue for most of the residents in the Waterways is the traffic and the long-term planning. We very much appreciate that Commissioner Landman and the city manager, Mr. Soroka, came to speak at a forum at Ports View, Harborside, Harbor Towers. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk to our unit owners. But there were three main themes that came out of that meeting that was brought to your attention opposing the school. One being most of the residents that chose to buy in the Waterways was because, as opposed to being on Country Club Drive or being on Williams Island, is because of the very peaceful and quiet nature of that area and the easy, unobstructed access to get to Biscayne Boulevard. Second, the residents were talking about this access road to enter the school through Gulfstream Park because there'll be just so much traffic on 213th Street in the mornings and whenever school gets out. And the third issue that was brought up, I believe, was a safety issue for the students. That'll either be, and the compatibility issue of the school being sited next to a casino, and that many students will probably want to go across the street to Whole Foods for lunch, and have, close access to bars. And the response we got was, well, it's private land and something's going to be built there anyway, whether it's medical offices or mixed-use buildings, we can't really stop development. And I think Mr. Soroka was frank that night that the entrance is probably going to be on 213th Street through Waterways Park, because this issue with the access road, that it's private land on Gulfstream and nothing we could do about it, which goes back to what I was urging before, why I was against the zoning change without consideration of trying to negotiate that road. And then, arguably, some of you may not think there's a land use issue or a problem of compatibility with the school being next to the casino. And so, I just putting that out there, what efforts were made to better negotiate? According to Mr. Stacker's letter of May 10, 2017, he spells out that, they have 32.2 acres and 19.5, a Zone B2, and 12.7. There's MO for this conditional use for this 480 residential units that there's no site plan yet, but they have 10 years to build it. The city's purchasing 2 acres for $3.5 million. I just feel in light of the pending sale to the city, this is in the letter from Mr. Stacker. In light of the pending sale to the city, the applicant is desirous of maintaining and reestablishing its ability to develop a residential high-rise project consistent with the existing conditional use density entitlement on 12.7 acres. They're requesting the city to rezone the 2 acres contiguous to and west of the Aventura parcel from B2 to MO. So the Gulfstream letter talks about the request being consistent with the goals and the objectives and the policies of the city's comprehensive plan. It proposes no new uses, it's compatible with the surrounding area zoning and existing uses, and the property is physically suitable for the proposed uses, as was previously approved in 2006. So again, I ask, why can't the City of Aventura and Gulfstream make the approval of the zoning change contingent upon Gulfstream allowing an access road for the school with an entrance from Biscayne Boulevard and a road running through Gulfstream Park? The city has proposed providing buses for all students, but realistically, how can you enforce that, particularly in the rainy season? No Aventura mother is going to let their kids stand on the corner waiting for a bus if it's pouring rain. And I just don't see how you can avoid parents driving their kids to school. With that, I just wanted to add, it always seems like it's just me, but there really are other residents in Aventura. Not too many show up. We have 2 from Portsview and Harborside, but we did circulate a petition opposing the siting of the school. We have 44 signatures from an online petition and additional signatures from a handwritten one.
Hey, Ms. Ginsburg, I want to remind you, this is about the ordinance. This isn't about the high school. So if we can keep our dialogue to the ordinance, and I so appreciate, and I don't care if you're just one person coming, it's very important to every person on the commission, but we're just addressing this ordinance, not the whole issue of the high school at this point in time.
Well, I'm finished. I don't know if you want me to submit my petitions to the clerk.
please feel free to give it to the clerk,
Okay.
please. And thank you again. Okay, are there any other member, please come up.
Have to be sworn in.
I think you have to come up and be sworn in. Yeah, let's come up and you can take a seat here, but let's swear you both in at the same time.
Kelvin Rosen, 30...
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Wait, we need to wait for the clerk.
I need you to raise your right hand and be sworn in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, if you state your name and address for the record.
Kelvin Rosen, 3640 Yacht Club Drive. Concerning the school with this thing here. Number one, there is an ingress on Biscayne Boulevard just north of 213 that they can use to go through the Gulf Stream. They do not have to build another street. Second of all, I had suggested that they take that school and planning the way they have it, just turn it around and have everything come in through that Biscayne entrance. It's the same. It's going to be the same school. So why can't they work something out with Gulfstream? Aventura City does a lot for builders. They give variances and all that. Why don't you go a little further for the people living in Aventura, spend a little more money maybe, and do that? And I think it could be done. So if we have to buy a little more land, the city manager, I was at a meeting, said, we're very wealthy. We have $6 million that we're going to put into it. We're a wealthy city. Let's put a little more money into it. Think of the people. Have you done a traffic study on that street?
City manager. And this, again, we're talking about the ordinance. We've had a number of public meetings specifically to the high school, to traffic patterns, and it would have been so appreciated, but you're here and you're speaking tonight, so I want you to get a response.
So this matter, as the mayor said, is an ordinance which basically extends a development agreement that they had before. This does not relate to the high school property. This relates to the property that Gulfstream owns and is basically adding a 2-acre parcel that we're taking away by purchasing 2 acres for the school and adding into their property and rezoning it back to the MO. That's all this item does. It does not discuss the school. It doesn't get into traffic. All those issues will be addressed. We're in the process right now of designing the school, looking at the traffic patterns, but I can tell you right now, we've had very hard negotiations with Gulfstream. They're not giving us any more property. There's nothing more to buy. There's no other access that you can have into the school. The property that you're talking about is located in the city of Hallandale, which is north of this site. And that, as I said at that meeting, to be honest with you, we're going to deal with what we have on 213th Street and try to eliminate as much of the traffic burden to that school as possible by not adding more road cuts and using the same access that we have for Waterways Park.
Can I ask you, why would you plan and design a school without taking a traffic pattern?
We haven't got to that point yet. We are going to have traffic studies as part of the site plan approval of the school.
So in other words, you're saying that nothing could be done? I am sure
Excuse me. This is, you're commenting on the ordinance.
I understand.
Okay, the city manager
Discussion.
said to you
I
that
appreciate-
but I want you to hear me. Some of the issues that you're raising tonight will come before the commission. And at that point in time, it would be very important for you to come and address the concerns that you have, although this ordinance doesn't specifically talk to it. But I so appreciate your coming and talking to us, and I'm speaking for all of us. We do care about your opinion.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Scott Singer, 21025 Northeast 31st Avenue, Aventura Lakes. Good evening, everybody. My first time. I just happen to be the president of the Homeowners Association for Aventura Lakes, and unfortunately nobody's come to visit us yet. So we're hoping in the future you come by and say hello. You can bring the attorney. It'd be fun. I'm not going to talk about the school. I'm not going to talk about the school.
Thank you,
I
Scott.
basically want to stay focused. I'm only going to touch on a 25-story building because it's going to overlook my house. It hurts. I don't think there's much we can do. So I want to focus on the streets. And I know, like you just said, Madam Mayor, we're going to be able to get another bite at the apple then, but I wanted to make sure we kind of put the seed in here now, so when we bring up the issues later, everybody's aboard. All these studies, everything was done over 10 years ago. There was like nothing there. There was nothing on 207th Street. Now 207th Street, we've approved major buildings to go in, hotels, retail, all kind of stuff. So 207 is going to start backing up. 213th Street is our escape route. And currently, say you want to go to work, say you want to go to 95, we got to go to Ives Dairy. And we know what Ives Dairy looks like in the morning. So picture a good 20 minutes, you got Ives Dairy. So are we adding another 20 minutes at 213th Street? Literally to get through there, 40 minutes to get to an expressway that's a little over a mile away. We have to keep in mind that we can't allow that to happen. And whatever it takes, I suggested something to the city manager, he laughed, but I seriously want one of those walkways that's over like at the Diplomat, because you know the cars are going slow. Say Ives Dairy, the cars are going slow because there's kids. They have to worry about the kids. If we alleviate the kids, get them up, put them up somewhere high where it's the only place they can cross the street, we no longer have to worry about 15 miles an hour. So it's about trying to move that traffic. So we're going to be back. Hopefully we can have visitors. I know it's short term. We're going to have visitors. Visitors come to see us so we can talk some more. We're going to get political. Aventura Lakes people. We're going to get more political. There's 409 homes. That's a lot of votes. So we're going to start getting involved, hopefully. And please, I thank you very much for your time tonight and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Mr. Singer, thank you so much, and thank you for being so candid. I really appreciate it. Commissioner Narodsky.
Just a quick, if you ever want, I know I'm always, I make myself available, so, and I'm sure other folks, if you want some of us to come over, just shoot over an email. We're always accessible, so.
Yeah, the Halloween furniture. Yes, absolutely.
We need the invite,
Getting a lot more in touch. Thank you so much.
Please,
Thank you.
You'll find all of us very responsive.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Any other public comment?
Oh, one in the back.
Robert, come on. Robert, he knows, we're gonna have to swear you in. Listen. One second, Robert. One second.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Okay, Robert, if you state your name.
I think it's from the last time I looked. I just want to advise you from the city manager and the commission. Unfortunately, there's a big lawsuit going on with Gulfstream Park and the EDA. I want to keep clean of that. I'm advising the commission and the city manager to make sure when we get the land for whatever it be, make sure that lawsuit doesn't come with the land because it's a big one. It's even too big for me. And we ought to be sure that when we get the land, the lawsuit isn't attached. Thank you.
Robert, as always, we thank you for coming, and I just want to make sure we heard you right, and their attorney is sitting here. You're concerned with ADA issues that may present itself in the purchasing and in taking over the land.
No, I did not say that. In Godfrey Park, there is a big lawsuit of the ADA, and I just want to make sure when we take over the land, it's not attached to the purchase. They seem to have a convenient way of slipping stuff in like that. I do know the lawyer who I've begged. I do know the ADA consultant who is the biggest in the country, and just let's be careful. Thank you.
Robert, thank you so much. Thank you. If there are no other people from the public, I'm going to close it for public comment, and I think that Vice Mayor Weinberg had a comment or two to make.
Sadly, I'm no longer the vice mayor,
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
but I'll still comment. Just with regard to one of the things that I heard, it came from Aventura Lakes, with regard to Scott Singer, with regard to a pedestrian overpass, I think you're referring to for school children. Actually, you know, I go to Bed Bath & Beyond a lot because my mailbox is filled with 20% off coupons. And every time I go, I get pitched by the general manager who tells me that in Israel, most of the schools have a pedestrian overpass so that if somebody's not paying attention, they're texting and they're going more than 20 in a school zone, it's still safe because the kids are protected. So that's something that I think would be wonderful. It just so happens that it's possible we'll get one at the mall going to the train station, if it exists, in an overpass, a pedestrian walkway over Biscayne Boulevard. That's something that's theoretically possible in the future. But I'm certainly not opposed to that suggestion, anything that makes it safer for the children and easier for the traffic. The other thing I just wanted to mention, because I'm not quite sure what you're referring to as far as a 25-story building or that will be peering down on you while you're in your swimming pool. So one thing I want to always remind people that in Aventura, a young city, 22 years old, we incorporated, subject to the existing building rights and zoning overlay from Dade County. And so the owners of the different properties and sites in the city have certain rights. We can't just tell them they can't build what they have a right to build. We could try to twist their arm. So, for example, I remember getting hammered in here by residents on Country Club Drive for saying, how dare you rezone parkland at 34th Avenue and Country Club Drive from a beautiful pocket park on a marina, and now you're turning it into condos. Well, we didn't do that. that developer happened to be nice enough to let people use it as a park. He even let them put a sign there that it was a park, but it wasn't a park. We didn't change the zoning. So, it's like no good deed goes unpunished. He could have put a fence around it, no one could have used it, but then there wouldn't have been a misunderstanding. So it's just an example. When there's a building, if it's going to be next to your neighborhood, it's not because we're telling them, oh, we really want that. And quite frankly, I'll tell you, if there's a 23-story building, if someone has the right to build 23 stories, okay, there's not a difference from the pedestrian level between 23 and 25. But if giving them 2 more floors will result in a horse trade whereby there'll be more green space and a smaller footprint at the pedestrian level, it's something I would certainly be willing to think about. So those are the issues we deal with, and we can't just say no to development. But we do try to arm twist and make it more reasonable. But the owners have rights, and they're not about to just waive them. Anyway, thank you.
Commissioner Lamon?
Yes. I just want to say thank you to all of the speakers who are here, 2 of them from my own condo. I know that it's not here, but as we get closer to the development of the school, we are going to look at options and really work hard to try to minimize that traffic impact. So I hear we hear what you're saying. I've had talks to the city manager to see, is there even a way we can create another lane? There's wetlands on 213, so I don't know if it's possible, but we're going to look at all options on the table to try to minimize the impact to that street. And I was at the Aventura Lakes Halloween party. It was great. The haunted house was great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor.
And again, thank everyone for speaking.
Mayor, I just want to say something.
Yes, Commissioner?
I just want to say that 2 of the commissioners here, myself and Linda and Dr. Marks, live on 213. 3. So we are looking at this very seriously. This will impact as well our neighborhood and our house. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Commissioner Dr. Marks?
I want to echo that. I know that at a workshop meeting, I did speak to Eric about the possibility publicly of looking at, is there another way to get in and out of the school, off of US 1. And I believe, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, there is some water or something that precludes, there's some reason why you can't actually drive through US 1. Is that correct? Or there was some thing that happened?
Well, the property that they're talking about, first of all, is not located in the city. It's north of the city boundaries, the city of Hallandale, and it's on private property, and they would have to agree to allow access, which they have not up to this point. So there's a lot of obstacles into trying to get another access road north of the site.
But that's absolutely, we've put that on the table to look at. On the other hand, while the representative is here from Gulfstream, I do want to say one thing. The school is of vital importance, at least in my belief, that we need to offer that high school to our children. And so we do want to thank Gulfstream also for working with us, and thank Eric for working with you to get us to the point where we're able to obtain the land so that we can build a school. I understand that the issue of 213 is an issue, and I don't think it's gone to sleep. We're going to look at it. But also, we do want to thank Gulfstream for working with us.
Okay, then Mr. Stacker, you've heard the voices of our community residents, and I'm sure you're going to take them back to the management at Gulfstream. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi?
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley? Mayor Weisman?
Yes.
Motion passes on second and final reading.
Thank you. We're on item 9 in our agenda. It's zoning hearings, again quasi-judicial. I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the procedures for the quasi-judicial hearings and to read the resolution to be considered. The clerk will swear in those wishing to testify.
Yes, thanks, Madam Mayor. We're going to re-invoke the same procedures as outlined before, the same quasi-judicial procedures that were read into the record before. And the first resolution to be discussed is a resolution of the Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, approving a sign variance for the Total Wine and More Liquor Package Store on the commercial plaza tenant space at 19925 Biscayne Boulevard, City of Aventura, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the resolution. Made by Commissioner Narodsky. Can I have a second, please? Made by Vice Mayor Shelley. I'm going to ask the Community Development Director, Ms. Joanne Carr, to present the staff report. This is a first and only reading.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll just
Just
ask
one
the
second,
city
she needs to
clerk-
be sworn in, Madam Mayor.
If you will be speaking on any of these items 9A, B, or C on the agenda, I need you to stand up, raise your right hand, and be sworn in at this time. These are for items 9A, B, and C. I need you to be sworn in at this time if you intend to speak. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Please have a seat. Please have a seat. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been sworn in. I would like to enter the staff report into the record. The applicant, Florida Fine Wine and Spirits, LLC, doing business as Total Wine and More, is requesting a sign variance to permit a wall sign for the Total Wine and More tenant space at 19925 Biscayne Boulevard, measuring 175 square feet, where a wall sign measuring 162 square feet is permitted by city code. Staff is recommending approval of the variance request with the condition that the sign comply with the drawings submitted with this application. And for location, so everyone can see where we are. There we go. Thank you. This tenant space for Total Wine and More is in the commercial plaza at the corner of Aventura Boulevard and Biscayne Boulevard. There are other major tenants in that plaza. It's a one-story plaza. The Total Wine and More will be in the northerly tenant space. And here's a close-up of the plaza itself. This is Aventura Boulevard, Biscayne Boulevard, and this is the tenant space highlighted in yellow. This tenant space is the most northerly, again, in the plaza, and it's where the height of the overpass is at Ives Dairy, and Biscayne Boulevard is the highest, and leaves this tenant the most visually impacted by that overpass. The increased size of the wall sign is requested to provide direction to the store, and this is a rendering of the sign. So it will be on the west elevation facing Biscayne Boulevard. And the requested sign of this wall sign is the same size as the wall sign that was approved by the City Commission in 2011 for the previous tenant, which was H.H. Gregg. The variance request has been evaluated by city staff using the criteria for approval of sign variances in Section 31-191M8 of the City Code, and has been found to meet the criteria. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Does anyone, let me first ask the applicant if they have any comments.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Wolf. I live at 1133 Commerce Drive, number 529, Decatur, Georgia. I'm the applicant for Walton Signage on behalf of Total Wine. I'm just here to say that we believe that the sign has had no negative impact on the city of Aventura. Again, it complies with what was previously approved through the variance for H.H. Gregg, and with staff recommendations, we hope that you guys will also see that this sign is on a very large space. And that's it.
Okay. Sir? Or no?
I really don't have a comment, but Thomas Mahoney with Total Wine and More, and I'm just here to represent the company and our hopes to get this approved so that we can, show a presence in the area.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has a question or comment. Commissioner Narodsky.
Just really quick, for Total Wine, when are you planning to open?
Hopefully, we're about a week away from permit, and we should be opening the end of March 2018.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Vice Mayor Shelley.
Yeah, is this similar to the sign you have on the one down in North Miami Beach?
Yes,
Same sign?
correct.
Okay, I'm going to open the item for public comment. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to address this? Okay, as there are no people that want to address it, I'm going to close the item for public comment, and I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you so much, and welcome to the neighborhood. I'm going to ask the attorney to read the next resolution that's being considered, item B.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Next quasi-judicial item is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, modifying resolution number 2006-62 by extending the time to obtain a building permit for 7 years by revising the legal description of land subject to the conditional use approval to delete a 2-acre parcel conveyed to the city and to include a 2-acre parcel rezoned by separate ordinance by deleting reference to specific site development plans and by reconfirming the approval of a parcel size of 13.715 acres, reconfirming the approval of residential units with a maximum density of 35 dwelling units per acre or a maximum of 480 units, and reconfirming approval of increased height with a maximum of 25 stories or 259 feet, all for a parcel of land on the north side of Northeast 213th Street between Biscayne Boulevard and Northeast 34th Avenue. City of Aventura, Florida, more particularly described in Exhibit A to this resolution, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask for a motion for approval of the resolution. Made by Vice Mayor Shelley. Can I have a second? Made by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask the Community Development Director, Joanne Carr, to present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been sworn in. I would like to enter the staff report into the record. The applicant, Gulfstream Park Racing Association, Inc., is requesting modification of the conditional use approval granted by the City Commission through Resolution Number 2006-62 to extend the time to obtain a building permit for 7 years from its current expiry date of May 9th, 2018, to delete the reference to specific development plans in that resolution, to modify the legal description of the development parcel, and to reconfirm the parcel size, maximum residential density, and maximum height for the parcel zoned MO Medical Office District on the north side of Northeast 213th Street. Staff recommends that the City Commission approve the request to extend the time to obtain a building permit for residential development of the parcel from May 19th, 2018 to May 9th, 2025. Approve the request for deletion of specific development plans listed in Resolution Number 2006-62. Modify the legal description of land in Resolution Number 2006-62 to delete the 2-acre parcel to be purchased by the city and to add the 2-acre parcel rezoned from B2 Community Business District to MO Medical Office District, and to reconfirm the parcel size of 3.715 acres, the maximum residential density of 35 dwelling units per acre, which is 480 units for that parcel size, and the maximum density of 25 stories or 259 feet, all with the condition that administrative site plan approval under Section 3179 of the City Code will be required prior to issuance of a building permit for residential development on this parcel. I've put up an overall location plan so you can see the land holding that in the city of Aventura owned by Gulfstream Park. This is 213th Street here, and this is Biscayne Boulevard. It's about 40 acres of land that originally was owned by Gulfstream. This is the city park, the 7 acres. In yellow is the MO parcel, what was originally the MO parcel, and then the westerly parcel, about 19, just over 19 acres, zoned B2. So of that land, with the rezoning that was passed tonight, in 213th Biscayne Boulevard, Waterways Park. This is the 2-acre parcel in blue to be purchased by the city. In green is the remainder of the MO parcel, and in red is the parcel that was rezoned tonight from B2 to MO that will be added to that residential parcel. The rest of the parcel to the west remains B2 zoning and is affected by the development agreement, which was also approved tonight. So in 2006, Gulfstream Park applied for and received conditional use approval for residential development on the parcel in green. That resolution approved a 480-unit, 25-story, 259-foot-high residential condominium. The resolution permitted a 5-year time limit in which to obtain a building permit. That is until October 3rd, 2011. That time has been extended through both City Commission motions and State of Florida bills and orders, and its current expiry date is May the 9th of 2018. Gulfstream Park and the city have now entered into an agreement of purchase and sale for 2 acres adjacent to Waterways Park. That's the property in blue. That agreement provides as one of the seller's conditions to closing that the city consider modifying the conditional use that was approved in 2006 to extend the time limit for approval of an additional 7 years in which to get a building permit, revising the legal description to recognize the city's purchase of the 2 acres and the rezoning of the 2 acres to the west, deleting the requirement that the development be tied to the site plans that were approved in 2006, and reconfirming the development rights granted in 2006, and those are the parcel size, maximum density, and maximum height. The shape of the applicant's MO zone parcel has obviously changed after the sale of the 2 acres to the city and the rezoning of its 2 acres of this B2 parcel. This new parcel shape will require review by the applicant to determine the ultimate building configuration. The applicant has therefore requested that the time limit to obtain the permit be extended for 7 years and the reference to those plans that were approved in 2006 be deleted while confirming its other development rights, maximum density and height. Administrative site plan application and approval complying with Section 3179 of the City Code will be required prior to issuance of a building permit. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, I'm going to ask the applicant if they have any comments.
Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Edwin J. Stacker again on behalf of Gulfstream Park. I think Ms. Carr summarized things very well. This is, I hate to use House of Cards, but this is the
Not a good one.
almost the last. We have one more declaration to deal with in a moment, but this implements and puts us back where it demonstrates a public-private partnership can work together for a win-win situation, and we would encourage you to vote approval on the conditional use so that we can subsequently come in with a plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yeah, Joanne, if I could, I have a couple of questions for you. My understanding now that what we're doing tonight is we're eliminating all the approvals that were there before, and we're now giving them a period of time where they submit something new to you or to us for our consideration and approval.
That's correct.
And we're also relocating the 2 acres that we've taken and giving them 2 acres in another section of this piece of property.
That's correct.
All right, so during this time frame that we have to approve something or review something, are there any restrictions that we have, because obviously this is in conjunction with the purchase of the land for the school? in this time period, are there any requirements that if it's not completed in the next 7 years, we have to renew this further?
There's no requirement.
Okay, so if in 7 years nothing takes place, then there's no obligation on the part of the city to approve anything unless we want to extend it again. Is that what I'm hearing?
It would be your decision and the
Okay.
applicant's request.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're giving them exactly what they had before, except with a modification to the site plan and a new slate to start all over again on a site plan approval for us to review.
The development parameters are the same.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners, any questions or comments? Okay, I'm going to open the item for public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to address this item? Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close it to public comment, and I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narotsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley, Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask the city attorney to read the next resolution being considered. It's C.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The next quasi-judicial item is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city to execute a modification of a declaration of restrictions in lieu of unity of title and to execute a release of a declaration of restrictive covenant in the forms attached to this resolution concerning property owned by Gulfstream Park Racing Association, Inc., located on the north side of Northeast 213th Street, City of Aventura, Miami-Dade County, Florida, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I'm going to ask a motion for approval of the resolution made by Vice Mayor Shelley. Can I have a second, please? Second made by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask the Community Development Director, Joanne Carr, to please present the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been sworn in. I would like to enter the staff report into the record. The applicant, Gulfstream Park Racing Association, Inc., is requesting modification to the Declaration of Restrictive Covenants in lieu of unity of title recorded in 2008, and is also requesting modification or release of a restrictive covenant recorded in 2006 regarding the Northeast 213th Street gate access. Staff recommends that the City Commission approve the modification to the 2008 Declaration of Restrictions in lieu of unity of title and provide a release, approve a release of the 2006 restrictive covenant. As part of the 2006 purchase of Waterways Park by the city, the applicant and the city entered into a declaration of restrictions in lieu of unity of title. And what this declaration did was to provide that the applicant's residential portion of so it affected all the property, all the Gulfstream and city properties. It provided that the applicant's residential parcel would be developed in accordance with the approved plans from 2006, that the applicant's commercial property would be developed in accordance with the development agreement that was extended tonight, and that's the B2 parcel, and that the city park would be developed in accordance with its approved plans, which the city subsequently did. The covenant also included the restriction on the use of the gated access on Northeast 213th Street, and it was restricted to weekends and holidays when there was live racing events. The applicant has requested that this covenant be modified to match the modification that was just passed to the conditional use approval and to the development agreement that was given second reading tonight. That is to delete the reference to the 2006 development plans, revise the legal descriptions based on the new parcel boundaries after the city's purchase of the 2 acres and the rezoning of the other 2 acres to the west, and to modify the 213th Street access restriction to allow the use of the driveway on weekends during racing events, as well as the current allowance to use it on weekends and holidays. So this is a request to use it on weekdays as well as weekends and holidays, only when during racing events. And there is another declaration covenant that was recorded in 2006 that related specifically to the access restriction on Northeast 213th. Subsequently, that restriction was embodied in the 2008 declaration, and also in the development agreement, the staff is recommending a release of that agreement. We don't need 3 documents. The restriction is contained in the other 2 documents sufficiently, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, let me ask if the applicant, once again, has any comments.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Edwin J. Stacker on behalf of Gulfstream Park. Again, I think Ms. Carr summarized the staff report we concur with, and be happy to answer any questions if there are any, but otherwise we would encourage you to approve the revision to the declaration.
Are there any commissioners that have any comments or questions? Vice Mayor Shelley.
My understanding is that you're extending the gate openings to racing season Thursday and Friday as well as the existing Saturday and Sunday?
Mr. Vice Mayor, let me answer it. There's now year-round racing at Gulfstream Park, and as such, this extension, this modification, whereas before it was simply weekends and holidays, it now includes weekdays when there's live racing. And for a portion of the year, that would be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And for another portion, it's only Thursday and Friday in the late spring, early or summer, through the summer. And then there's no racing in October and November. So yes, we're...
So to get to the point I was going to make, and I appreciate that because it makes what I'm going to talk about a little bit more important. The road that goes from 213 through into the parking lot and obviously into the area is not only used for the track, it's used for the shopping center and areas as well. The road has no lighting on it, very badly lit, and in some cases I've seen people go off the road because they go down that road, the gate's closed, they have to turn around in mud and dirt and grass and turn around and come back. I would be in favor of this, but I would like to see you do some kind of improvement to that road, some kind of curbing or some sort of landscaping along the sides, and a signage when these gates are closed so people don't go down this dark road at night, especially daylight savings over. Get to the end to find out the gate is closed because there's no way of knowing it's closed until you get to it. In addition, has some kind of lighting down there that can be seen from the interior side of this. So I would say that these are pretty critical items because that road is a very dangerous temporary road. It's obviously not a DOT road by any means, but I understand you need the access. I'm not against the access provided. Now that it's going to be used as extensively as you want to use it, I think it's time to improve the road and give some adequate lighting and signage.
Well, all I can say, Mr. Vice Mayor, is I'm not here this evening prepared to represent to you that Gulfstream Park will agree to that. I can assure you we'll take a look at it.
Well, unfortunately, once we vote, it's after the fact.
I understand.
So how do we, Joanne, do something about this issue? Can we table this item? How does it affect our approvals? Because once we approve this, it's too late to do anything.
Mr. Vice Mayor,
Ask the
this is
attorney.
not something that we could deal with on this particular issue at this point. So, I mean, the particular item that's up is the only item that can be discussed. We can't add that condition.
Okay, so either
what's
we
before
vote
the
yes.
commission.
You can vote it up or vote it down
Okay.
based on what's being
As the mayor
presented.
said, I'll take all of what we heard this evening back to management, and I'm sure we'll look at these things seriously. Thank you.
Okay.
Commissioner Narodsky.
So just along those lines, if we hypothetically, if we voted this down today, procedurally, how far back would that set us? What would be if any negative ramifications to that in terms of our getting this moving?
Well-
Mr. Attorney
Go ahead.
or City Manager?
This is one of the pieces as far as the purchase agreement. So if you vote this down, you technically don't have a purchase agreement.
As a follow-up, so essentially we don't meet again until January. Is that correct? So it would be delaying it by 2 months?
No, I don't think you'd be delaying it. I think in order for us to close in a timely manner, we need all these things to happen. That's why all these items are on the agenda tonight. So this would impact that process. Keep in mind, if you have concerns about that access road, we can deal with it in other ways. I wouldn't attach it to this.
explain what-
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yeah, could you explain what the matters will have in handling this in other ways?
We have ongoing and discussions with Gulfstream on other matters, so,
Okay.
yeah, there'll be other opportunities.
Any other commissioners? Okay, I would just like to remind the attorney for Gulfstream, you've again heard from the commission, you're our neighbor, we share a boundary with Gulfstream, and we want to be good neighbors, and we'd like Gulfstream to do the same and think about the safety and the welfare of our residents also. And we're happy to meet with you at any time. Okay? At this point, I'm going to open this item. Yes, I'm sorry. Commissioner Landman.
I just want to put on the record that I do concur with Vice Mayor Shelley's concerns, and I look forward to having our city manager discuss this in negotiations or discussions and see how that road could be upgraded and how we can work together to make this a safe place for everyone that's driving by. Thank you.
Any other commission comments? Okay, I'm going to open the item for public comment. Come on, come on. Okay, City Clerk, please. Robert, 1 second.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, let me just ask you to have a seat, because... Okay. No.
I just would like to add one comment. There is a patch of grass going from the Gulfstream Park toward 260 Street that needs some type of a ramp or pavement so you can get on and off the sidewalk, because if you're in a wheelchair, there's no access for pedestrians. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Sir, if you'd state your name and address for the record.
Joshua Kova, 3911 Island Estates Drive. I just want to kind of comment on what Mr. Shelley said. And, I have experienced exactly what you just described, driving down that road, not being able to see. I actually have an office in Gulfstream as well, so I'm very familiar with that road. I didn't realize it was only open weekends, and now I know, so that's a good tip. But it does sound, by the conversation going back and forth, and I just want to call out the perception, the safety of the residents of Aventura. It looks like it's going to be pushed inside in hopes, and let's just hope that Gulfstream will do something about it, because we really want some other stuff. We'll put the safety of the residents aside. And so I hope you guys take that under consideration before you pass your votes here. But that's really what it sounds. And unfortunately, you guys know, with where I live, we've dealt with similar issues where it feels the city's putting other agendas ahead of safety of the residents. So I just wanted to call that out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kova. Are there any other comments? Okay.
Can I?
Commissioner Narodsky.
And thank you for, just with the previous comment, I wanted to address that. And it's actually an acute it's an acute perception, because as we're talking, I'm thinking, I understand exactly what you're saying, but just speaking for myself, I know that when the manager says that it'll be addressed, I'm very confident that it'll be addressed. So I understand the perception. It's an acute observation, but believe me, we do follow up on it, and it's something that we are well aware of and are going to push, so it's not being swept away.
You may come up for the record so we can hear you, sir, please.
Thank you. Josh Koba again, 3911. So are you suggesting that there's some sort of guarantees that you have, that you guys are guaranteeing you're going to accomplish this safety that the residents of Aventura really need for this particular thing? Or I'm in business, 99% is never 100. So are we confident with 100% certainty this is going to happen, and everyone here who's going to vote in favor of this feels that confident that you can show face around the community knowing that you've put the residents at risk by approving this and not handling it in the, maybe it needs to be delayed, maybe it hinders a deal? Does the safety come first? Thank you.
So just to answer your question, what I can tell you, the only thing that I can tell you with certainty is that I personally myself will be following up on it, and just from my experience in dealing with the administration, and I know for a fact that I'll be in there trying to hammer it home. So you have my assurance that I personally will be following up to make sure that it gets done, because I do share your concerns.
Well, we certainly appreciate the attempt. I'm familiar with Gulfstream. Not everything gets done, but thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else from the public? You have to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Honorable Mayor, Commission,
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
my name is Dara Clark, but my address is exempt from public record. So I'm here to speak about something else, but one thing that is jumping out at me is, you all know what's going on in my community. And we have
I'm
some
sorry,
very...
what was that? I couldn't hear you.
You all know what's happening in my community in Island Estates, but that's not what we're here to talk about right now. What is jumping out at me is we have raised over and over again serious concerns about safety violations happening in my community regarding oversized trucks, construction plans being violated, and time and again, repeatedly, Matt Mandel, the city attorney, addresses us by saying, this is private land, we can't help you, and you're going to have to sort this out yourself. So when you tell me that you have assurances...
Okay, I really have to say, this is this item, so please just
that's
address
what
your
I'm going
comments
to, Madam Mayor.
this. Please, thank you.
When you're saying this is private land, but you are confident that you will be able to enforce what you're looking for, Vice Mayor Shelley, you're saying you're confident it's going to happen on private land. How are you going to force private land in a different county to do something? You can keep your eyes on it all you want, but in the city of Aventura, we begged you for help, and you've said no.
I'll just jump in to answer your question.
No,
Oh, I'm
one
not allowed
second,
to.
please.
I'm sorry.
No, Ms. Clark, please continue speaking.
Well, I think
And when
the
you're
point-
finished, we
Yeah, I
have a
think-
format we must follow.
I think the point is made that I'd like to know how you're going to do that.
Okay, I thank you very much. Is there anyone on the commission that has is there anyone else from the public that wants to speak? Is there anyone, Commissioner Mizrahi?
From a business point of view, it is in the best interest of Gulfstream to fix that road. Recently, we had an event there for over 1,500 people, and they were aware of what's going on. If they really want the business of bringing large events to Gulfstream, they are fixing the road. So it is more for them than actually for us. Yes, it is a private property, but it's more on their interest to fix it.
I guess I didn't close the public comment, so please come up, but you have to be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear that or affirm that the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Daniel
Please state your-
Sawicki, 4036 Island States Drive.
Thank you.
I just want to know if They are so interested in developing business. Why they have not done it yet? And why will they do it in the future? How long they could have done it a long time ago. Why didn't they do it?
For the same reason that they have not passed any plans.
That's not
I
the
don't
reason
know.
not to
It is
address
a-
a safety
it is
issue.
private
That's
property.
that's not a reason
Okay,
not.
a little decorum in here, please.
Okay, that's not
Okay,
a
we
re-
never speak without being recognized. It's never happened. Okay, we follow Robert's Rules of Order, and I have to ask everybody to please be respectful. There's obviously a lot of feelings. The community's raised some very valid points. I think that you've also heard from commissioners that we are going to take these points forward with Gulfstream, plus other things that we have on our agenda. So we've heard it, and we cannot speak for any other entity. So, we can't answer your question as to why they didn't be, it's irrelevant to what's being discussed now, although I know it's very important to
I'm
you.
only surprised that they have not done it in the past. Why is it that they will do it in the future? If it is to their own interest.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, I think we've addressed this item sufficiently, and I'm going to ask the clerk for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman,
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi,
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley,
Yes.
Mayor Weissman.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you very much. Item 10 on our agenda, I'm going to ask, actually, before I go to item 10, once again, I'm going to ask the attorney to please take back every one of these concerns to Gulfstream, and please respond to our city manager. Thank you very much. Thank you. Item 10, I'm going to ask the city attorney to read the next resolution being considered.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Aventura, Florida, appointing Susan L. Grant to serve as the city manager for the City of Aventura, approving an employment agreement between Susan L. Grant and the City of Aventura attached as Exhibit A, authorizing the mayor to execute the attached employment agreement, providing for an effective date. Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much for reading that for us, and I would just like, Susan, I would like you to stand up, please. And I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of this resolution made by Vice Mayor Shelley, seconded by Commissioner Landman. I'm going to ask if any member of the commission has any questions or comments. Vice Mayor Shelley.
Yes, I had the pleasure of negotiating Ms. Grant's contract. So before she speaks, I would like to say that I have a feeling we'll have an excellent negotiator on our half because she did a very good job. And tough as nails, and her answer to me was, if you want me to be good for you, you have to see how I am for myself. And I want to thank you. It was a pleasure to deal with you. You were a lady. You were wonderful about how you handled it. But more importantly, in getting to know you a little bit through the process, it was a pleasure to get to know you. I know you from Coral Springs for 26 years when we used to work up there. But I think what we've been achieving is we're very fortunate to have somebody of your caliber, somebody with your experience, and I believe you'll be a great asset to our city, and I welcome you. But I would like to add one other thing. It's a bittersweet moment as well, because we've been honoring a lot of people for a lot of years here in the Aventura City, but this is probably, and I believe, the last meeting Eric Soroka will be acting. Well, we have one more? Okay, then I'll take back everything I was going to say about you, and we'll wait another month. But anyway, you have wonderful shoes to fill, but I have no doubt you'll be able to accomplish it, and I
Thank
welcome
you.
you.
I'm going to continue with the commission. Commissioner Landman.
I'd just like to say welcome to the City of Aventura. We look forward to having you here, and, it's exciting. You're going to have a full plate, but it's going to be, a new exciting opportunity, and the whole commission looks forward to having you here. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to open it for public comment. Seeing as there are none, I'm going to close it for public comment. And we don't usually do this, but Ms. Grant, if you want to say a few words to the commission, I'm going to allow you to do this now.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. As I said during the whole interview process, it was an honor to be considered and a very big honor to be selected as only your second city manager. I am a grew up in Dade County. I think I talked to you about that, and coming to Aventura is like coming back home. I always hope to be back in Dade County. So to the folks in the community, I look forward to meeting all of you and working with you. In Coral Springs, we had lots of boards and committees and just welcomed community involvement. So I'm looking forward to that. And with that, I thank you and thank Eric for, he has given me every opportunity to pick his brain, and starting on November 27th, I will be doing nothing but that for as much time as we have together, and he said he will continue to be available, and for that, I thank you. Oh, one more thing. My husband, Don, of almost 30 years, is in the audience, so that's Don Grant, and both of us are looking forward to being members of the community and moving here early next year.
Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to ask the city clerk for a very important roll call vote.
Commissioner Landman?
Yes.
Commissioner Dr. Marks?
Yes.
Commissioner Mizrahi?
Yes.
Commissioner Narodsky?
Yes.
Commissioner Weinberg?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Weissman?
Absolutely, yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you so much. The next item on our agenda are reports. I'm going to ask the commission if they have any items to report on.
Just one item.
Commissioner Marks?
I just want to mention to the very few people who are still here in the audience that the tax bills are not coming out until the 14th of this month. There was a delay because of the hurricane. So just for anyone who's wondering why they didn't get it in the mail, no, you're not forgiven from paying. It's just that the bills just didn't go out in the mail yet.
Okay, and I would like to take the opportunity to say that Founder's Day was probably the best Founder's Day ever. Over 8,000 people attended, and I think a great time was had by all. Kudos to Kim Marchant and her staff and our police department that are always present and always there. And Brian was there with his family. Joanne was there. It was like really a whole city event, and I thank everybody who worked on it. I'm now going to open the agenda for public comments. If anyone in the public would like to talk to the commission or have any comments, now's the time. I don't need to swear you in for public comment, but I do need you to give your name and address.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor? Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Right here.
Oh, yeah.
Are you doing a time? Is there a time limit on the public comments you're doing tonight? I just need to let the clerk know.
No, I do not have it. I've asked for it for 3 years.
All right, thank you. Joshua Koba, 39 Island Estates, in Aventura, 33160. Just for public, wanted to first introduce myself. I'm here, Josh Koba, but I'm also I'm a board member of Island Estates Homeowners Association, and wanted to share our concerns regarding the actions of city management under the advice of city attorney on matters related to the issuance of the second sidewalk, the sidewalk permit, in anticipation of issuance of the TCOs for the Privé project. Is it my turn to speak, or?
It is.
Okay. Seems like it might be not. The Privé project, as you guys well know, there was a resolution 9877 which required a second sidewalk, again for safety concerns. The commissioners back in some time ago when Mr. Cohen originally had the land in 1998, they filed resolution 9877. The developer agrees to install a sidewalk on both sides of the street if the second, which is the North Island, should be developed with residential units other than single-family homes. As you know, for the past 3 or 4 years, we've been in litigation with the developers. One of the main issues, which was just ruled on recently in court, was about the second sidewalk being built on privately owned property. As hopefully most of you are aware at this particular point, the judge did rule in favor of the homeowners that sidewalk was illegally built and should not have been built on private property. The homeowners are in the process of having that sidewalk removed, although for some reason getting permits has become a major obstacle. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. We've submitted everything we need to submit, but for some reason permits are just not being issued. I could guess what the reason is, but for some reason those permits are not being issued. The attorney over there, the gentleman in court, said to the judge, for those of you who aren't aware, that he knew he was going to get sued by either the homeowners or developers, and figured it would be best to be sued by the homeowners when issuing and making these decisions. Again, hearing what Mr. Shelley said earlier about the safety issue of Gulfstream, and we talk about this safety issue of this second sidewalk, and it was really encouraging to hear you guys visiting communities. You're willing to go to the yacht clubs, and you're willing to come visit Island Estates and see what's going on there just with the limited construction traffic, and imagine what it's going to be like with the 500 cars that are fitted to fit on the second island. As of most recent, those sidewalks will be removed. The City of Aventura attorney wrote an email to our attorney basically saying, excuse me, I'm getting a little confused here. Essentially that the second sidewalk, having that completed at Resolution 9877, was all that the developer needed to do, was build the sidewalk and he can get his building permit. And now that that's been accomplished, there's no need for a second sidewalk. There's no requirement for his project to have a second sidewalk at this point, which really is odd. The resolution was there for a safety reason. The commission at the time realized that there was a genuine safety issue to the residents if it wasn't developed as single-family homes. And now we have an obligation. I'll wrap it up. It's fine. And I feel now the city has an obligation to really, again, an opportunity, maybe not losing a school this time, but having an opportunity to do what is right. It's not the city's problem as to how the developer built a second sidewalk, but he does have a requirement to build that second sidewalk, and he needs to get that done for the safety of the residents of this community. Not just the 22 homeowners on the first island, but the 160 plus their children. I have a 2-year-old. I have another one on the way. We need a sidewalk. As it stands, there's not even a continuous sidewalk, even with the semi-second one that he built. The comment was, essentially, just to repeat, he built it, that got him the building permit, now it doesn't matter if there's a sidewalk. He got it, it was part of it just to get the permit. And I see it as the equivalent of telling me, you have to wear a hard hat to enter the construction site, but once you enter, you don't need to wear the hat anymore. You got on, you're good, you got on, you don't need to wear the hat anymore. And that's what we are essentially telling the developers of Privé is steal private property, put a sidewalk down. Yes, the attorney misguided this commission, and some of you are new, but the attorney misguided everyone and told them it's no big deal and just give them their own sidewalk on private property, which the judge has since rectified. And I think, the commission, we encourage you guys to come visit, see what's going on. It's not your problem to resolve Mr. Cohen and the Privé developers' situation where they haven't met Resolution 9877. That's not for you guys to figure out. It's his responsibility to figure it out at this particular point in time. And we ask you guys to please make the right decisions and stop from issuing any more permits, TCOs, COs. And also I would like to acknowledge that we, at this particular moment, we just want you to be aware that we're filing a lawsuit this week. It should be in tomorrow or the next day for a permanent injunction against the issuance of the TCOs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cavo. All right, and there is a 3-minute rule, so please.
Well, Madam Mayor, I believe that under the code, you can extend that out, and I would appreciate that courtesy. I will try and be as brief as possible.
Thank you so much.
And thank you again. My name is Dara Clark, and again, my address is exempt from public records, but you know where I live. To Mr. Koba's point, going before what I was going to say, the whole idea of the sidewalk is down, so therefore it's good, is kind of like saying you put fire sprinklers in a building just to pass the fire code. And then as soon as the fire inspector comes, you rip the sprinklers out because you don't need them anymore. It's the same thing. But that is not what I am here to talk to you about. This is actually my 3rd time speaking to you in a public forum. You've been told repeatedly you're not allowed to talk to me. I don't see how that's true. I'm a resident in the city of Aventura. But here's my opportunity to talk to you, so here I am. My message is the same. I have begged you, get another opinion. Get another opinion about the advice that you've been given over the past 3 years on what's going on in Island Estates. I don't think it's that big a request. I have begged for relief. There is no relief in sight for stealing my property. 2 circuit court judges said that David Wolpin, now Mr. Mandel, are wrong. You may not steal private property and give it to other people. Even if you're pretending there's a utility easement, there is a utility easement, but guess what? The court found a sidewalk's not a utility. There might have been developer rights, but guess what? Gary Cohn doesn't have developer rights. So the city of Aventura issued a permit to someone who was not a developer under developer rights to put a sidewalk, which is not a utility, in a utility easement. Who led you down this road? We begged you, get another opinion, and I'm asking you to do it again. And in all this chaos, I have to ask you, who benefits from lawsuits? Is it the residents who just want to live our lives? No, we didn't even sue the city. Did you know that? We did not sue the city when you took our property. We were brought into the lawsuit because the developer and the city attorneys had an agreement under the covenant of indemnification, and the developers decided to ask the court to make the city an indispensable party. The developers brought you in. That's a really interesting point. Why would that happen? The city has come in willingly. You haven't ever tried to settle with us. You've never tried to talk to us. Actually, you shoot us down every time we try to talk to you. So this is my time, and that's why I'm taking it. So I'm begging you for relief. We've begged for relief for repeated violations of site plan, of construction plan violations. Trucks 3 times bigger than what our tiny little bridge can handle. Begged for relief. Matt Mandel sends a message. This is a private problem. We cannot help you. It wasn't a private problem when my husband and I were falsely arrested for defending our property. Then they got to use the City of Aventura police. So it wasn't private then, but it's a private problem now. We have repeated violations of the construction plan. Begged the city for relief. And guess what? Again, Mr. Mandel, this is a private problem. Sort it out on your own. We run to court. The judge says, if the city says, I don't understand why the city's not doing anything. We don't understand, and I'm asking you, where is my city? What are you guys doing? Now, I'm asking you, as a resident, to get outside counsel, someone else, to come in and review what has been done to us. I received this under a public records request, hundreds of emails between Mr. Soroka, Mr. Wolpin, Mr. Mandel, and the developers in a flurry of activity to develop this covenant of indemnification, knowing full well that they were going to draw us into a lawsuit. There was a rushed commission hearing. Why? What was the urgency? Why did you need to make a commission hearing when everyone was out of town on vacation and shove that indemnification down your throats? Why did that happen? Where's my hearing? Why can't we get on the agenda in public hearing so we can talk to you? There were many residents that wanted to come today that couldn't. When is it our turn? We are the residents. When you look at the org chart, residents are supposed to be on the top. But like Mr. Koba said, when we were in court, Judge Thomas looked at Mr. Wolpin and Mr. Mandel, I keep reading Wolpin, and said, why did you choose the developer in a fight over the residents? And I'm going to tell you why. Read the indemnification agreement. There's, at least by my accounting, $77,000 worth of reasons why. So I'm only asking you to please go deeper and look and see what's really going on in my tiny little neighborhood that cannot support this. Okay. The other thing I want to talk to you about is, now you know, if you didn't know before, we won in court. The court said, under the 5th and 14th Amendment, you can't take land, life, liberty, and process, life, liberty, or property without due process of law. And the court said, you may not take their property. That sidewalk is trespassing, and we are all trying to get rid of it. But guess what? Mr. Mandel steps in and says, we need developer approval. There is no developer. It's my property. Why do I need to ask anybody to do anything on my property? I need 2 surveys, a plan, I need utilities to agree to this. This is my property. Can you imagine in this country, on my private property that I own fee simple absolute, I need a demolition permit to remove something that is illegally there to begin with because the city allowed it? That's what's happening right now. What are you going to do to help us? Why is the city backing the developer here? Like Mr. Koba said, David Wolpin sent a letter saying, there's no more sidewalk requirement in my tiny little street. But that sidewalk is there for a reason, but you can't take other people's property in the process. That is not for you to do. You may not do that. So I'm asking you to take another look and to dig deeper. The second time I was here, I advised you, or I asked you to take under advice that the ethics of listening to the advice of someone getting paid who has an interest in the outcome of it. I am urging you again to do the same thing. When the city attorneys are getting paid through the covenant of indemnification while the money washes through the city to accomplish what they want to accomplish, where are the residents' rights in that? There are two sets of attorneys fighting for the developer and only us on the other side. So in closing, because I appreciate the indulgence of your time and I value it, I'm asking you to get another opinion before you get deeper and deeper and deeper into the quicksand that this has become. Don't issue any more permits. Take a step back and look and see what's really going on. Give us a hearing. Let us present evidence to you. Please be our city. Be the city of excellence for the residents of the city of excellence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clark. I know that Nathaniel Manor is here, and I know is there a report for us tonight? Please lighten it up a tiny bit by telling us wonderful things that's going on in the high school.
All right. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. And yes, to lighten up the mood a little bit, for those of you who don't know, my name is Nathaniel Manor, and I am the president of the Student Government Association and student body at the Dr. Michael M. Kropp Senior High School. And I basically come here to talk about some of the day-to-day activities and achievements that go on in my high school. So I'm here to talk about the 4 A's that we always like to brag about: our arts, our athletics, our activities, and academics. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown, since I haven't been here since school started, our performing arts have been continuously earning superior rankings in both district and state performance assessments. Our athletics division has been doing superior lately. Our girls bowling districts, they were actually district champions. Our boys bowling team were district runner-ups. Our girls varsity volleyball team were district champions, and they actually just advanced to regional semifinals, so we'll see how that goes. One of our golfers won the Greater Miami Athletic Competition, and our boys golf team were runner-ups in the entire district, so that's obviously great. And in our activities, we had 4 of our debaters recently ranked in the top 5, and 6 of them in our top 20 in the entire nation, based on the National Speech and Debate Association. And we recently just raised over $3,600 for United Way, which is an incredible charity which divides up funds for other charities around the nation. And we actually just had the most successful Homecoming Spirit Week and dance in over a decade. We had about 270 tickets sold, which is up about 40 to 50 from years prior. We had an incredible amount of involvement. Our diversity was showcased across all our social media platforms. If you don't follow, Kropp Athletics and activities. And in our academics, we've had 5 National Merit semifinalists, and our 15 Silver Knight nominees were actually just recently announced. And tomorrow, in fact, they're actually NBC6's Ari Odzer is coming to school to interview each of our Silver Knight nominees. And we actually have 3 sets of twins who are nominated, which is a pretty unique circumstance. And yesterday, actually, we had a monumental groundbreaking ceremony for our new iPrep building, which we had the pleasure of seeing Commissioner Landman and Commissioner Nell Weinberg present, which was incredible. It was a great ceremony. We had our district officials there, which basically commemorated the groundbreaking of our new building, which is going to be housing an extra 300 or 600 students. I forgot the actual number. Which is going to be incredible for 600, right? 600. So that would probably bring us to about 3,600 at Kropp, which is an incredible number, but it's great for our city, it's great for our school, So I'm very proud to announce that to you all. So I thank you all very much.
Outstanding.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you for sharing all of that with us. Is there any other business for this commission meeting? You can go, okay.
Commission, Mr. Chivalga, I just want to thank you for your office support of on my course. If you may, you supported me. We never fought. We always had lively debate from the first time we met. It was very lively. I want to wish you good luck. Don't go far. We need your expertise. And I also want to offer my assistance to the new city band. Congratulations, you got some big shoes to fill, and I look forward to working with you, and I love Eric. Thank you.
Robert, no one could have said it better. So with that, I'm going to ask for a motion for adjourn. State your name.
Joshua Koba on 3911 Island Estates Drive, Aventura. I would just request, it sounds like the commission is interested in at least hearing and being involved, like I requested it comes to the community. I would request a meeting with all the relevant parties, the developers, the homeowners association, the commissioners, and have a meeting to discuss how Resolution 9877 is going to be adhered to and about the safety of the community. Again, the commission clearly understood the dangers and safety risks to the residents of the city when they passed 9877. And I really, really request that everyone sitting here think about the concept that Mr. Wolpin put in paper to say, hey, the sidewalk just needed to be built to get a permit to build the building. Now that they got the permit, they don't need a sidewalk. Just think about the illogical mind thought of that, and then consider the indemnification and who he really works for, and whether or not he's made one good decision on behalf of the city over the last 4 years as it pertains to the Parfait development. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Come on, Ms. Lapido.
Hi, Frida Lapida, 20953 Northeast 30th Court. I'm not giving you my zip code this time. First of all, I want to say congratulations to Susan. Really, on behalf of the community, we welcome you. You do have big shoes to fill, but it's going to be great. It's the best community, the best city, the really city of excellence. So welcome aboard. Eric, we have one more, right?
Yes.
Okay, so your turn comes. Thank you.
Yeah, bring your Kleenex for the next one. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Made by Commissioner Landman, seconded by Commissioner Weinberg. The meeting is officially adjourned.